AHDRA Sturgis. Waving camera, Miss Man. First fire up of the bike. And there's two tall piles. Now we'll take a little look down pit road. Big Mo sitting on pit road. Big Mike. '27 top fuel bikes. There's Jim. Say hi, Jim.
Hey, brother.
And this motorcycle right here has a reverse. And they're right too tall.
Sounds good to me.
If anybody back there happens to have a battery, a spare battery, would you see Jeff White down here at the station lanes, get him cranked up? If anybody back there can lend him a battery for a second so we can get him cranked up? All right, doing the long burnout on the tower side of the racetrack out of Boise, Idaho. This is Steve Frisbee. Out the carburetor to a 619 a lap time at 128 miles per hour. And not really that bad of a run for Frisbee out of the box here tonight. 638, 118 miles an hour for 45 Bob, and not a bad lap for the guys out of Washington State. Now keep in mind, this Cycles bike, this is one of the top running pro dragster bikes in the world. I mean, these guys, every time they go down the racetrack, it could possibly be a world record. Now Greg Hurd is the owner and tuner out there on the starting line. Rick Hackrat Stallman does the riding. And Bill will be up alongside the Marone racing bike with Bucky Marone. Good to see Bucky. This is the first time we've seen him this season. Bucky out of Colorado Springs, Colorado with a Pike Pete Harley-Davidson bike. Boy, Stallman's very methodical the way they heat the tire over there in the right-hand lane. Just took his time, wanted to make sure that the tire temperature was perfect. And believe me, you can overheat the tire. Of course, these Goodyear Eagle drag sticks, they are made to run at a certain operating temperature. Once you get that temperature up there, that's when the compound in the rubber becomes effective. That's what helps glue the bike to the racetrack. Now Stallman's right at the cubic inch limit, 120. Watch this thing make a 4-second lap in the right-hand lane. Bucky Marone having a little trouble negotiating the stage lights out there, trying to put that thing in very, very slowly. Got the old openings there in the front tire, and the light beam is just going right through, so that's kind of a tough line. 5:19. Good run out of the box, went a little bit rich down there at 138.46 miles per hour. So I've been a winner last year on the AHDRA Tour. Winning out in Palmdale last year with this Future Cycle House of Speed sponsored entry. It's a long race bike, 88-inch wheelbase, 114 cubic inches, power plant built by Future Cycle. They run a Dale Nungesser chassis. Built a couple of years ago. The thing runs very, very well. Paddock Racing out of British Columbia. Daddy over the not seen Lamar since Orlando, I believe. It's been a while. Dragster as well. A number of bikes there. So let's see what Daddy O can do. In the middle of the racetrack and still runs 5:54. 5:54 to $1:27 and change. Competition license run on the Alley Thunder racing bike. He's out of Bedford, Texas. Rocky Man, the bike owner, is. Rocky's been involved with the sport for a number of years, as well as a rider himself. Sure nice to see a rookie come into this nitro. Getting down that right-hand lane, straight as a string to a 683 at 106 miles an hour, so a pretty impressive license. And check it out, they still got the smoke though. Watch this. Check it out, the smoke changing the pig, yes. I love it. She surprised a lot of us here last year when they lit it up on the burnout like that. I said, well, what's going on there? All right, Jim Perkins over there. She left before the tree was activated, did not get an ET, but she did get a mile-per-hour reading, 123. It's there. Getting ready to guide her into the water box, and of course the crew chief, Rob Morgan, who's making sure everything is set back there before the burnout. These guys have done a tremendous job of getting Chris to the winner's circle last year, and she has run very well this year. Of course, they picked up some new sponsorship. They're involved with S&S for 1996. Sure was great that the folks in S&S realized the talent that they have over there at Christine Becker, and they're trying to give her a helping hand. And we'll probably see one of the new S&S voters in that bike shortly, I would imagine. All right, so Chris Gardner down there got his machine cranked back up, the future cycle entry. And he'll be ready to go against Christine Becker. Now, not really too sure how quick the Palmdale last year in the Western Division Finals. Runs well up in Canada. He's won got this bike flying. Out of the box, they go 5:45. 130.81 miles off Spring Casio. Right now, the king is AHDRA The guy has earned the #1 place the last 2 years on the tour, and he is looking to do it again in 1996. He and Rusty G have had a great season here in 1996 so far. They've won 4 races on the tour already this season. And they've been running good. 790s in the quarter mile. They recently ran over 171 miles an hour at Atco Raceway to win the Indy Vendors race back there in New Jersey a few weeks ago. 114-inch 4-cam Sportster motor. Out front, 513. 5.138, 138.88. They did a great job last year guiding this bike to the #1 place in Western Division. Arlie also running out of the North Coast Thunder Bikes shop. Of course, he is the owner of that establishment. Oh, and my goodness, he just destroyed the cylinder head on burnout. Oh, man.
So much for his day.
Well, that's a dangerous situation. I don't know if anything came back and got Arlie or not, but I mean, it's C96. It's like built by Dale Nungesser. You guys want to Dale's 150 cubic inch fast cabinet. Not the salad. Jack Ross, guys have racing full bikes for a long, long time out of Belton, Missouri. Getting some help from Jim's Machine and Fight Cycle and HPC Coating. Sure is a great looking race bike. Multi-color paint scheme. Jack with a couple of wins on the AHDRA Tour. Actually, one, I think. Runs 132 cubic inch 4-cam motor in that bike. That's for Larson over there. Fab Unlimited chassis, 84-inch wheelbase. Custom fabrications did the chassis. .505 out of the box tonight. Good lap. 148 miles per hour. 5 seconds. Taking a ride into the dirt down there. You want to bike off?
We'll see. We'll see.
Fall out there.
Way back from the next
I'll tell
round.
you, that ain't gonna hold.
Tater Gilmore, the Reynolds teams in the sport of Harley drag racing right now, and I mean to tell you, these guys in the right-hand lane out of New Jersey have been in the final round in every single race they have entered in the last year and a half. For the last 14 races, this motorcycle has been in the final. They've won half the time. David Horsdall, the right-hand lane of the National City Racing Club. He'll be up alongside, check it out. Doc Thompson. The Doc Harley-Davidson entry. Boy, here's a guy that's brought some serious numbers over the year in this pro fuel category, Doc Hopkins. You got to remember now, they also hold both ends of the quarter-mile record in pro fuel. First trip ever here to Sturgis for David Horsdall. Here he goes up alongside Doc Hopkins. And getting close to the center line, he pedaled it, ran 602 at 127. All right, we have top fuel. We need top fuel in the staging lane, please. Top fuel into the lane, please. Doc Hopkins, 499, 142 miles an hour. Right. They got two more, though. Running over the years. Now Savage riding this bike owned by Red Rhea out of V Thunder and R&B Cycles. It is a bad boy. This thing can run some serious numbers. Up alongside will be Rod Bridges. Now Rod is a rookie fuel rider here this season, and he's actually on the old Bulldog bike with Bobby Buckley and Bill Murray. Saw this bike after the race in Orlando earlier this year. And the young man out of Daytona Beach, Florida is doing a pretty good job getting this bike down the racetrack, and they've been winning rounds lately. Rod Bridges running that right lane, going on through at 5:31, and I don't know if Rod's going to be able to stop down there or not. He's going pretty fast. Nope. don't look like either one of them made the turn down there. It looks like Savage actually spun the bike out. So both guys running it way down the racetrack. 478 at 152 for Doc. 531 at 143 for Ron Bridges. And that's what happens when you run it out the back door here at Sturgis track. Savage.
Serious conversation between drones and the
All
back.
right, Mark Angelo's down in Bloomington, Illinois. It's a pretty race bike, isn't it? Last time we saw Mark Angelo's, or at least I saw Mark Angelo's, last year in Ohio. And there was trouble negotiating the shut-off area down there. Laid this bike down, okay. Great-looking machine built by Bill Furr's Dixie Frames back in 1994. Maybe 6-inch wheel-made chassis and 132 watts. Because this is how Top Fuel ended a year ago. Remember? I know RC Shaw remembers. It was one of the best races we have ever seen here at Sturgis Raceway. All right, 1 year ago, Bill Furr won here at Sturgis. Beat Alan Peters in the final, but he also got the side blue line. Great tapered on. Now, Michael has been running extremely well this year. He and Patty with their Line Quest performance machine out of Line Quest has helped these guys step up their program of fun. He's got a great set of high-performance heads on that thing for this event. He and Randy Ferguson out there worked on it. They are expecting some big things here this weekend. Bill Furr, the current national champion. 2 times in a row he's won that #1 place. And he is trying to win it again this season. Got to do good here in Sturgis this weekend, however. Center line. And he still comes up with a 478, but he did chop the throttle. Speed was only 133. Bill Furr, 472 at 151. And the racetrack working very well for those guys. Furr with a 112 short time. Qualifying swing throttle, Top Fuel Series. Check it out. You got Kevin Cleary on the tower lane. This bike's run by Alan Mahan. He's the owner of Delphi Manufacturing. Alan was his own Top Fuel operation for 1996. It's Kevin Cleary to do the riding. Kevin's been doing this for a long, long time, 15 years, and this motorcycle is really now starting to show its full potential. These guys have been running very quick numbers in the last couple of 3 races now on that big red bike down there in the Tower Lane. Ray Price, he's off a career best 713 last time, the last race he entered in Ohio. 484 here last night on a shakedown run. They said there's a lot more there. But let's see what happens. Price with the overkill bike, Kevin Cleary, 129 cubic inches. 477 for Ray, 150 miles per hour. Kevin Cleary, 480, 149 and a half. A couple of nice runs. All right, nice pair of side-by-side burnouts there from Ron Springer and Kenny Kent. Now, Ron Springer, an old hand at this Top Fuel racing. That's Ron over there in the right lane on the yellow bike. This guy has been Top Fuel racing for over 30 years. I mean, this guy goes right back to the beginning of motorcycle drag racing. I remember him when I was a kid back watching him race the NMRA races back in Asheville, New Jersey in the mid-60s. He's the defending Western Division AHDRA champion in Top Fuel, and here he comes up alongside Tim Kent. on the Harley-Davidson of the Edmonton machine out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. 120 cubic motor for Kenny Kent. Ron Fringer up to 132 this year. And this bike is run good. He ran 7. Running right down the edge of the racetrack to a 473. Great run at 149 miles an hour. And look at Kenny Kent, 498. Oh, chain went away for Griswold. A little bit too much power, a little bit too much stick on the racetrack, and the chain just couldn't handle it. All right, so 19, or actually I should say 22-year-old Jamie Everett. Says he's been racing for 15 years. We got started pretty young then. Was barely walking. This young man was a force to be reckoned with in the last couple of seasons in full fuel. Now they're trying to do the same thing in the fire on it. They got the big rod aluminum motor in it, 160. Whoa, low lap time to beat. Check this out. 463. 463 with a 7. A $1.55 and change. Most of the people in the pit area are worried about. They say, hey, that's a little lightweight 117 cubic inch bike that's going to hurt on all. This guy has been running extremely well, both in the 8 mile and the quarter mile. He will be in the thick of things. You can best believe it. Coming up alongside, that's good looking. 82-inch wheelbase bike belongs to Tony Drexler. Tony out of Bergen, Colorado with the Good March Incorporated Edwards. Now Drexler over there on the Good March bike, they run a 114 cubic inch power plant. Little motor on that bike, no body pressure. DJ 2-speed transmission set up in there along with a Bill Kern. Orangeburg cycle wider clutch setup. John run the quarter and has run 4.50 in the 8. John Russell go. Oh my goodness, there is low a lap time right now and top speed as well. Check it out, 4:55 for John Russell. 1:59.01. The miles an hour at the big end. And I'll tell you what, that bike lost well. 1:10 60-foot time. 5:21 down there for Tony Drexler, smoking the tire at 124 miles an hour. And I'll tell you what, that 5:21, the way these guys are running right now, ain't going to hold up. So John Russell, the Chromatic Incorporated bike out of Ohio, number 1, 4:55 with a 6.
Big Mo.
Over there on the far lane. Yes, there he is. Marion and Bruce Owens out there on the racetrack. With Bruce second to Maine last year's top fuel eliminator at this particular race. The High Voltage Racing Team, they're out of Kansas City, Missouri. Still goes through to a 5:06. Just teetering with the center line down there at 139 miles an hour. 5:09. For Bruce Owens, 5:09 with an 9. So it's really good to see Chicago Joe back out on the racetrack. Of course, he had a horrendous mishap in his backyard earlier this year when he fired the bike up and went to check out a little tune-up they did to the clutch system. And launched the motorcycle with Joe on it through the back of the trailer, believe it or not. He was hurt pretty bad, but he was back racing, from what I understand, within a couple of weeks. Of course, this is the second bike that he owns. This is the aftershock machine. A lot of sponsorship support for Chicago's show. I mean, he's got a whole list of people. There's a number of people involved in this race bike. And you can see it started drifting over towards the left-hand side as Joe did the wide. Well, check it out. If you're from Australia, here's your boys right here. Mark Gady and the crew down there from Australia, making their first ever appearance here at Sturgis Dragway. And we're glad to see you guys back in here in the U.S. Of course, winter time over where they're from in Australia, so they had nothing better to do, so they said, let's go to Sturgis and do some top fuel racing. Worked on this race bike as the crew chief for the last couple of 3 years, and finally decided to get the Mac to ride the thing. That was something that he and Steve talked about actually at the beginning of last season, but just weren't able to get things slowed down enough in the shop to get Mike out to the racetrack. But he successfully completed his license runs out at the motor straightened down there. It shuts off from 523 at 120 miles. In match country, their motorcycles run from 720s at over 185 in the land down under, and that is a very stout number. This bike has not been back home yet. I was kind of surprised to find out they actually left the bike here all this time. But of course, it is winter time in Australia. Well, that did not sound encouraging as he tried to backfire there after the burnout. He stayed lit, stayed down on the top of the motor, and everything is fine for Mark Gady. Now, they used to run two bikes over in Australia. I don't believe they do. 159 inches down there for Mark Gady. He's a steel mill worker over there in Australia. Nope. Cylinder went dead 300 feet out, but it still went 526 at 103 miles an hour, 117.6. First one up against a long-time veteran, Jim McClure, Rivera Primo team out of Williamsburg, Virginia. Now, Jim McClure has been having a real rough summer. It's been like sort of a hit-or-miss deal. Jim and Miller, they'll come out, they'll run good in one race, and then they'll lose it the next time. Run some great numbers. It's the one. Charlie Machado, as Jim McClure runs it through at 471, and you heard Jim, as his motor went flat, slowed him up to 141 miles an hour. But that is the third boomer we have gotten tonight out of the nitro bikes, and that was a big one. You could actually see the cylinder lifting off the top of the motor for Charlie down there. That could be a dangerous situation. But it seemed like mostly everything stayed down. Nothing came. Not bad at all. 564, 122.
That's pretty sharp.
How many races they got? About 14. They got a Western division though. You pick your best 8. I think he's got the best deal. Best 8. Rich can't get as much money for a 5-point series as he could have.
So you're wondering why Andy Simon didn't get out of the racetrack that time? It was because when he broke the chain on his...
This next pass is for old Bobby Alpin in Nashville, Tennessee.
He broke the stage beam and did get a reaction time. Once you do that, that does constitute a qualifying attempt. All right, so Al Hogan having a great weekend so far. The rookie out of Columbus, Montana. Qualified earlier, I'll tell you, I don't think he is right now. 673.
He said he only went about 50 feet in it.
No, he is not. I believe Jeff White. Ever lady winner on a nitro bike. Oh, Chris, that was a danger. I mean, that baby was on its side. The dog. How about a 589 for 17-year-old Kirsten Hopkins? Nice run. 100.
Who drove that?
This is Jeff Evans out of Bedford, Texas, the Alley Thunder Racing Team entry. Salmons. Number 2 qualifiers here this weekend. They want to try to steal that number 1 spot back away from Drum. Drum's back there in the lanes. You bet he is. He'll be the next pair out of this class. Now Salmon's the world record holder down here on the Custom Cycle Works bike out of Tennessee. So Salmon's pulled up alongside Steve Frisbee on the old Ironhead Sportster out of Boise, Idaho. Now Frisbee's in the show at 6:19. But Cat Rat, these guys down here, they're looking for a 4-second lap time. They would really like to be able to come in here and set the national record this weekend, which is currently at 484. It's possible. Greg Hurd, the crew chief, has got everything he can handle, and that's like... Flat at the other end, though, 5:02 at 142 miles an hour, but it's still good enough for the number 1 Hopkins a little earlier in this round. The Virgin. 7 for Chris Gartman, 5.570 at 130. That won't improve. Put it all here a year ago. Drum's making like a wheel standing right there. With a little spike on the side of the tube. You see the top of the sparks out off the burnout. Now that's Rusty Gerstenmeyer out there, the crew team and one of the major sponsors on this race team, the Bamber team out of New Jersey pushing. Usually you'll see Drums come out here, make a good qualifying run and just sit for the rest of the night, but not now. He wants that number 1 spot back, and to do it, he's going to... How about a 5:10? 5.106 at 140.62 miles an hour, so the war continues. I get a kick out of watching these guys race. They're a little bit more laid back than the guys out of the East Coast, but not quite as intense. They like to have fun while they do it. It's not to say the guys in the East don't. Different atmosphere, different outlook. Guys back here on the West Coast. The show, and there it is. About 5:57. Nice run from Bucky Barone. He picks up about 210. Starter on that brake. Run 482 at 129. Let me tell you something. The number was run in the left lane. How about lower lap time to be? 4.697. 153 miles an hour for Clipper. Yes, 469 with a 7 at 153. Hey, Fern might have got the wind light down there on the horse shop, and this is qualifying. It doesn't count. 482, 129 for the Bulldog. That does improve. They picked it up a couple of tenths, but Horsdall goes right to the head of the pack at 4.697. that run. So your bump spot now is Brett Matthews at 5:57. All right, here's Red Rhea's bike over there. That's the red bike in the right-hand lane. Doc Savage on board. Now, Doc had the quick time up until a couple of seconds ago at 4:78. Mickey Stewart's having a good run here tonight. He gets that racetrack with the Master Performance bike. He ran a 480 out of the front. That little 120 Doc Savage, 132 cubic inches out there for him on the Music City Warrior bike. Of course, Red Rhea has been Nitro racing for many, many years. Right now, that's one of the top riders in the business doing the driving chores for him over there, and that's Doc Savage, who makes his home out of Forest Park, Georgia. Nicky Stewart looking for a big weekend here in Sturgis. Knows he has the power. If he can just get it all to the racetrack, this race could be his. Would like to step it up just a little bit here. Off the pad, while Savage runs 5:39 and 1:46. So he had a little bit of tire shake. He had to pedal it, got back in it, but it was just enough to slow the bike down out of the 4 miles per hour upstairs for Jeff Morris. However, that was just about on par with his earlier qualifying run of 5:62. So he's showing some consistency. And he will stay in the top half of the field, number 5. We need Pro Dragster to the stage lane, please. Pro Dragster, we need you to the stage lane, please. Pro Dragster, to the lane. Put Red Headings and the boys out of Pennsylvania. Pretty good night of racing here. Their 120 cubic inch shovel in is very solid. We got to talk to Bob about that. I would imagine it is. But I'll tell you what, this is one heck of a powerful combination these guys got. And this motorcycle is for sale. I mean, you've got this thing for sale in drag time, so if you want to buy yourself a possible world record holding bike, it could be setting the world record right now. A race number 2 with 47. Bill Hannon, number 3 with 74.
Are you a firer?
Henry Roadway,
Bill
number
Fire?
4 with 581.
Bill who?
I still got that sheet. It's got his first and second card stapled. It's got both his bikes. Bill who? It's got a big question.
And George Beckler. Number 13, Jordan Caitlin, number 14. That's the way you line up. A former national and world record. That's one of the most important things they can do. It puts heat in the tire, it puts heat in the racetrack, it puts fresh rubber down there, gets heat in the clutch. And you ask any one of these guys, and they'll tell you the burnout is the most important thing they can do before getting this bike up to the starting line. If the burnout's not good, usually the rest of the run isn't either. So if that's the case, Larson ought to and Hopkins is long gone to a 484. Nice run for Doc over there at 150 miles an hour, and they picked up a 10th. 1500s as a matter of fact. 819, or I should say 22-year-old rookie top fuel racer Jamie Emery out of Colton's Point, Maryland. This is the Harley-Davidson of Washington Emery racing machine. This bike only about 4 months old. This is a creation of Bill Foe's Orangeburg Cycle Dixie frame. It's a slick looking piece, isn't it? And side is the Delcron manufacturing bike of Kevin Cleary. Out there. Now, Emory last night qualified up in the top half of the field. And check it out. This will show you how tough this program is. Jamie ran 4.63 and was only able to qualify 8th last night. Kevin Cleary, meanwhile, ran a 4.72 and he put the Delcron bike into the number 11 spot. Now, Emory running one of the Bill Firm 4-cam motor combinations over there, 167 cubic inches, 2-speed trans. Kevin Clear, 129 cubic inch 4-cam Delcron, built an aluminum engine. Weekend frame chassis. And here they come. Top end, he runs 480. And there's a lot left there as the thing only ran 138 miles an hour top end. So there's easily a 450 of that motorcycle. Jamie Emery. All right, a couple of past and former. Past and present Western Division champion out there on the racetrack right now. The current Western Division champion is the guy on the yellow bike over there. That's Ron Turner. And Chicago Joe on his aftershock entry. Chicago also a former Western Division champion some years ago. Now Chicago Joe had one heck of a freak accident a few months ago. They were buckloads and they went through the trailer. I mean, right through the trailer. Chicago was hurt pretty bad, but last night, Fringer, who qualified in the number 11 spot with a 469, runs 475 here at 149 miles an hour with a fairly decent 60-foot time of 117. Chicago Joe, a 505 at 145 on the Ron and Al's Insurance Company Redline Oil bike out of Richmond, California. How about you folks have never seen Ray Price ride his own motorcycle, huh? Will you tell me all you folks are old enough have seen Ray Price? Come on. All right, so here comes some legend in the sport of Harley-Davidson drag racing. The first drag racer to be inducted in the Motorcycle Hall of Fame, and that's in the right-hand lane. 58-year-old Ray Price. And he'll be up alongside the Line Quest performance bike of Mike and Patty Romine, former Sturgis Nationals winner in Top 4 Eliminator, up here on the tower side. I did not like the way that motor sounded on the burnout, and I'm wondering if maybe the bell or the chain or something went away down there. Something locked up. The clutch locked up is what happened. But Michael will have to push it back, and 462 to 150 last night. 165 cubic inch overkill. Side-by-side rod motor in there, and this thing has been see how much that road lane can hold, and they found out real quick that it didn't hold that much horsepower, and they just blew the tire completely away. That's really the first day Australia. The bike has been based over here in the U.S. all year because they bought it from Mac Thrasher. Back there with the orange Harley shirt on it. Terror in their home country. At one time, they were the quickest Harley-Davidson over there. Matter of fact, it's second quickest right now. Only Peter Burnett's quicker. The This is an overkill powered bike. It used to be owned by Mac Thrasher. Mark qualified in here last night on his very last qualifying attempt. He got in with a 482 at 155. And it has been said that this motorcycle and these guys will not take it back to Australia until it runs a 6-second time here in the U.S. Does that mean 8 mile or quarter mile? That's what we want to know. But here they come. If you're in Australia and this is your man, the only guy to root for this weekend. But I gotta admit, you got a good... Oh, and they got a little bit too aggressive as well and just blew the tire away. So the Australians giving it all they can. Even though he really hasn't done that well on the AHDRA Tour this year, he is in contention for a possible 8th #1 plate with this association. Right now, number 3 in points with 439. Trying to run down Bill Foe, who's about 100. But Jim made a great run here last night. Put this bike in the number 2 qualifying position on the final session with a 4:55 with a 5. So McClure getting ready to go here. Let's see if they can lay down a number in this left-hand lane. If I'm not mistaken, this is where they were last night when they ran the 55. Ooh, he was on a good run until the thing went rich and shut itself off down there. 485.
That last night, remember? How soon we forget. Yeah, well, it's over now, man. That was yesterday.
Nice photo stand.
It's over. I used to respect him since you cut all your hair.
All right, so we got some great matchups coming up here in the
Watch him just wake everybody up in a heartbeat.
All right, here we go. Top Fuel, Quick Throttle Top Fuel Series, round number 1. And we will be starting off with Jamie Emery and Leo with that tremendous burnout. He only made one run here last night and qualified on his very first pass. Jamie Emery made all 3 qualifying rounds last night and had a real scary ride in the second session when that motorcycle started to push him off about 300 feet down the racetrack. Now, Leo S., you know probably all about him. This guy has set more world records and land speed records than probably anybody I'll ever know. Out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a long time. Top Fuel Harley campaigner with a Full Blast engineering bike. And he ran good here last night, ran 467 on his first run. Now Jamie Emery with his brand new Bill Fairfield Top Fuel bike, big tire on the back too, 14-inch tire. His first appearance here at Sturgis Dragway and his first ever season of Top Fuel, why not? And he's up against a slick veteran, Leo S. This guy knows more tricks than anybody. And we'll be taking on Kenny Kent and the Harley-Davidson of Edmonton team based out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Now, Bill Furr last night squeezed into the number 4 qualifying position with a 4:55 elapsed time. Kenny Kent with his 120 cubic inch bike out of Canada qualified on their first pass through last night as well with a 4:86. Now, third 2 years in a row, the #1 plate holder in AHDRA. He's looking for his third straight Pro National Championship. But he's got to contend with David Horsdahl this year. And David currently leads the points coming in this week. 167 cubic inch motor for Fur, 120 for Kenny Kent, so you can figure. Out the last 100 feet, runs 4:58, a $1.53. And I want to tell you, he saw Kenny Kent a long ways in that drag race. Kenny running 4:85 at 146 miles per hour. That was a good drag race. So Bill Furr goes back into round number 2. Not bad they didn't because their homeboy is here. I don't know if they call them homeboys or not over in Australia. They call them mates and mateys, that's right. All right.
Where's that WB lock?
All right, so Ray Bryce, he has the choice of lanes, and he will put this beautiful Ray Bryce racing team into on the tower side of the racetrack. Now, Mark Gady, 40 years old, he is from Adelaide, Southern Australia. That's a motorcycle that was purchased from Mac Thrasher earlier this year. As a matter of fact, this motorcycle hasn't even been back home. Now, Ray Bryce has been doing a tremendous season. This is really his first full year back from riding after retiring from the seat back in the early 1980s, and he already has a big wheelbase for Ray Bryce. He runs an ART clutch, and of course, one of his own 2-speed transmission. Candy over there, also overkill powered, 159 inches, race vision chassis, 86 inches, ART multi-stage lock-up clutch. They qualified last night in the number 15 spot with a 493, and it was barely in the end. Backfire, and he is okay, but it looks like the cylinder was just away about 100 feet off the starting line. And Mark Gady from Australia goes into round number 2 tomorrow night with a 4:82 lap time under his belt at 127 miles an hour. So the Australians, that's their best run so far this week at 4:82, 127. And he only ran like 120 miles an hour on a 480 pass, so hopefully that will happen here from Jimmy Cool. Takes on the first alternate. Now, Bob Peters was scheduled to run here, but of course Bob had an unfortunate crash here last night. He is okay, by the way. Just had a couple of cuts and a couple of bruises, no broken bones or anything like that. But world's quickest at 6.92 seconds. The only normally aspirated. Jim McClure, 58 with a 5 at 160.14 miles per hour top end. That's the second time this weekend Jim McClure has gone over 160 miles an hour. That was a nice run. 458, 160, 1140. On the East Coast, moved out to California many years ago. Won the Western Division Championship last year with this bike. That made the folks at Bartels and S&S and Jim's and Barnett and Sabaki Chain very happy as they stepped up their sponsorship for 1996. Mike Woldine running a set of Trick Hyper Performance heads on the top of his overkill motor. Tom Day supplied the clutch for Mike Woldine. Chassis built by John Stewart. Now, Michael last night qualified in the number 7 spot with a 462 at 156 miles an hour. Ron Freer qualified with a 469. That put him in the number 11 qualifying spot. Now, only a few hundred separating here in elapsed time. And we always saw that Mike had some problems during the test in saw the clutch lock up on the bike on the burnout. Didn't do it this time. So evidently that problem was solved. But he's going to have to be wary about Springer over there because 53-year-old Springer can cut a with a 3 at 157.89. Just did pull it out down there as Ron Freer went 372 at 149. On the aftershock machine. That's the legendary Chicago Joe. Who never lived in Chicago, by the way. He's always alongside this little 117 cubic inch top fuel bike of John Russell. Out of rural Ohio. But don't let the cubic inch size fool you on this bike. This baby can run some serious numbers. As a matter of fact, he was the #1 qualifier after the first session last night at 4:55. So John Russell on the chromatic racing ride. Also getting some help from Mac Tools, Saddleman Seats, TJ Cycle, Russell Performance Products. John Russell pulled the motor, 117-inch Evo. Now, Chicago Joe, that's the latest state-of-the-art stuff over there. Trust Me Racing chassis. 2-valve, 158 cubic inch power plant. 3-speed D&J trans. How about a 457?
Oh, yeah.
457 with a 1 at 155.70 for John Russell. Chicago Joe 501. He wasn't even in it down there. Data gathering system on this bike. Major sponsorships come from Deltron and Lockheed Precision out in California. Now, Derek Nelson, this is a bike that he built at his shop in Freedom, Ohio. Did the chassis, did the motor, did the cylinder heads. Had Elmer Trett supply the fuel injection system and had D&J supply the tube. And it looks like Derek cannot find it, so we will bring out the next alternate, I'd imagine. And I'm sure he's sitting down there. So Tony Drexler gets cranked up real quick. A little bit of oil coming out of Derek's bike, so he might have had an oil fitting come off down there. But that lets Drexler slide on in, and he is going to have to get the pace cooked up just a little bit. Clearly has already done the burnout. All right, so Tony Drexler trying to do the burnout as short as possible, not holding up Kevin Cleary. Of course, it's tough when you're an alternate, because your time is just a little bit shortened between the burnout and actually getting the bike staged. But hey, he is in the program right now, and that's all that Drexler cares about. This is the Putin Parts bike out of Colorado in the Tower Lane. Kevin Cleary with a Deltron bike in the right lane, and here they come. Out the right-hand lane to the 478. At 149 miles per hour, Tony Drexler for the 4th straight pass here at Sturgis. Can he back up the speed record at 177 miles an hour? Now, based on AHDRA rules, and I don't understand it, but it's in the rule book that if Mark Connor were to go out here right now and run faster than 177, he would still set the record even if it wasn't within 1% backup. So if I was Mark Connor, the only thing I'd be worried about right now is running faster than 177, no matter how fast it is. If he wants to be the world's fastest. Now, Bruce Owens is a generation drag racer. Rode these twin-engine bikes for over 20 years. And now his son Bruce out there doing the hot shoe of this race bike, and they got in the show last night, number 16, biting their teeth with that 509 that held them into the program. But Connor and the guys, John Marshman, the bike owner, backing Mark up into his tracks. This motorcycle has been phenomenal here the last couple of days. Sponsored by Alamo City Harley-Davidson, Powerden, American Street Thunder, Sabaki, Aries, Frame, a lot of folks involved with this race bike, including competition motorcycle distributors and Barnett clutches, and who knows, in the next 15 seconds, Mark Connor can be officially the fastest. At 159 miles per hour, so a little bit short on the record there. 159.01, 463.
All right, bro.
0. And Bruce Owens, excuse me, led by Steve Forrester, it's show by Custom.
Could blow that son of a bitch up, wouldn't it?
Sure, it'd be nice to see him go down. Look at that 5-12, Steve Forrester. That ain't
Get that pump there.
There's a bus right over there. It's right through there. It's just an old school bus and it's their concession stand.
I'll have a Coke there, thanks. Coke.
Joe, you're making a glare in my lens here. It's sparkling so much. Boy, it's got some sparkle.
Specialties and, of course, Zipper's Performance Products. Next out will be our number 8 qualifier, who hails from Humboldt, Iowa, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, John Dumfrey, 36 years old. John sponsored by Snowy Ridge Trucking, Let's Distributing, Coots Materials, and JIT Meat. Rick Backlash Salmons down there, listen. Qualifying number 1 and 3, Rick Hughes. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Backlash Salmons, if I'm not mistaken, this guy is one of the quickest in the world. Matter of fact, he is the quickest in the world nearby. World record at 479 at 153 miles an hour. It's incredible numbers, but these guys have been bagging out 460 as of late. We qualified number 1 here at a 502 at top speed, 142 miles an hour. It's sponsored by Custom Cycle Works, RB Cycles, Howard Trucking at Shell, 520 qualifier for juniors, and this happens to be the only lady in the history of auto drag racing to ever win a national championship on a serious automobile. Ladies and gentlemen, from Chinolis, Washington, I'd like to introduce the Slim Becker. At this point, second place, the S.S. the first qualifier at 598 and number 85. And Nicholas Air Hoover Fallout, round number 1 tonight. He comes from Colorado Springs, Colorado. 40 years old, and was seated in the cat, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rose. 2 years old in the third drag competition, he qualified very well this weekend at number 4 spot. He was sponsored by Pikes Peak Harley-Davidson of Colorado Springs. Eric Robert, Steve Preston, Roy Purple, Rupert, McNasty Brown, and Kate by J.R. Ballinger. And racing Bucky in the first round tonight, we're moving the ball hard. Unfortunately, the Marks will not hang out in Brewers tonight, so we're going away to the national champion. He's the guy who qualified number 2 this weekend with 5-10. And they call him the real special stopper, ladies and gentlemen. And the only reason they do that is for what heaven you wear. And you know it. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry, welcome to the national champion, sponsored by RNER, Mom and Dad Steel Harley-Davidson, SNS Cycle, Core Competition, A1 Nutrition, Trade Car Transmission, Netherlands Clothing, Hero Young Ladies from Chicago, Wisconsin, second generation drivers. This is Tennessee Hospital. First to qualify is number 7 spot at 5-9. Sponsored by their fathers at the Davidson Shop, and this is their second year in third drag competition. And coming down next, we'll be on but he's young, so it's a little $5 man for a trouble. Sponsored by Central Cycle House and Street, maybe like the magazine, Line Pro
Trucking, West Line Manufacturing, West Coast Fiberglass, and Every Battery. And here we take on number 6 qualifier. To go to Chicago, ladies and gentlemen, this is Alan Roberts and Mechanic Racing Team Engine. It's sponsored by Adam Service Power Company of Chicago, Illinois, B&B Cycle, Posey, Illinois, and Diamond Motor Club, also in the state of Illinois. So there we have it. Let's close and third ride, ladies and gentlemen. Give a round of applause. And we'll give you guys about half hour for round number 1.
Make sure we all look good.
You always look good, baby.
And there we are, ladies and gentlemen, your final 8 in Pro Gas. Give them a round of applause, because they put on one heck of a show here 2 nights ago, and they're going to do the same again here this evening.
Yeah, that's what I wondered.
Never put them on the peg.
Probably the first thing. Let's start off with the low qualifier this weekend, who just happens to be the world record holder for speed in this class. Ladies and gentlemen, from Wintersville, Ohio, it is rookie season. This guy is really eating these boys up with that big twin. Mike Williams. Thank you very much, Wayne Henderson. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sturgis Dragway. And my name is Tony Williams, and on behalf of the Sturgis Rally and Races Incorporated and the All Drag Racing Association, I'd like to welcome you to the final elimination nights of 1996 Sturgis Nationals. This is the biggie, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard of U.S. National Drag Races held for NHRA. That's their big one. Well, this is the big one for Harley Drag Racing. This is the one everyone listens about, everyone dreams about, everyone says they want to win, but only very few ever have. And here's a guy that would love to win this race badly. This gentleman right here out of Houston, Texas, has a shot of winning his first ever AHDRA National #1 plate in 1996. And he's got the backing right now to do that, just that. Out of Alamo City, Harley-Davidson, ladies and gentlemen, riding this bike over by the big man out there, John Marchman. It's Mark Connor. Mark Connor here on the near side, ready to go alongside Leo S., the long-time veteran out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Now, Leo S. has done just about anything that you could possibly do with a motorized vehicle. He has been there, he has done it all, he has seen it all. One thing he has never had won is this race. He has won all the big ones, but he's never won here at Sturgis. And Connor, this young man, has been racing for 12 years. He's only 34 years old. Earlier this year at Maple Grove, he ran his first ever 6-second run. 3 nights ago, he ran the sport's fastest elapsed time, or speed in the 8th mile at over 177 miles an hour. Now keep in mind, that's as fast as Elmer Trett and Larry McBride go on their blown top fuel jack bikes. If Connor can look at the upset move, Mark Connor drove around him. That was big-time John Marchman horsepower pulling it out down there. 4:51. Low elapsed time of the meet from Mark Connor. 159.01 miles an hour. And boy, I'd love to see the margin of victory on this one. A 4:79 in the right lane at 1:51. And look at this, he fouled. That's why he got out there so fast. We can't see that light with the sun shining in here in the tower, but hey, there it is right there, F-O-U-L. So Leo S. actually fouled on the starting line, so his 4:79 lost as soon as he left. But Connor blasted a low ET shot at 4.519, and keep in mind, the national record is 4.504 held by Bob Spina. Will that go by the race side? Mark with a 1:11.65 time, and I mean, he carried that front end almost right to the finish line. Best runs in the United States this year, bar none. It's going to be the first 6-second motorcycle in the sport of Tower 5. This is the Southern Rock 4-cycle, Bill Furr. And how many Australians do we have out there? Because here's your boy, Mark Gady out of Adelaide, Australia, over on the far side of the racetrack. That used to be owned by Max Thrasher. They bought it off him late last year, and they made their debut of this bike at our very first race of the season down in Orlando. They ran very well down there, ran 7:30. Bill Furr back on the Southern Rock 4, the motorcycle that carried him to that historic 699 2 years ago. And he is in a heated points battle right now with Mark Connor towards the #1 plate. But he knows Mark has already won. He saw his win light come on, and he is a little bit leery about the Australians over there. They know that motorcycle has not hit its first. But it's Bill Furr getting the win light down there. 4:57 at 152 miles an hour top end speed, and my goodness, Gady was right there with a 479 at 142 miles per hour. That was a great side-by-side run, but I'll tell you, Gady left him on the starting line, 481 to 534 the lights, and had not tire not gone up in smoke some 50 feet out. Taking on the legend, Jim McCoy. Now, Mike Romine has won this race in the past, if I'm not mistaken. He won here a couple of 3 years ago.
Yeah, he's going to need to do good.
Former track record holder here at Sturgis Dragway. Now, Michael actually won back in 1994. He beat Bill Furr in the final round of competition. Jim McCoy last night ran top speed of the round at 160 miles an hour to knock off Ron Springer. Ran a 468 to go along with it. He qualified with a 455 to the judge. And his wife Phyllis have been running extremely well here this week. Now Mike and Patty Romine, they were put in the right-hand lane here by Jim McCoy. And I wonder if they are concerned about the tire smoke they saw off the gate just a moment ago. Now, Romine and McCoy are both running the overkill engines in these bikes. And what the overkill engines are is just basically like car engines. The actual male-female rods that the standard, or I should say conventional Harley power plants do. These guys actually use a solid single crankshaft, a single billet piece for a crankshaft, and they bolt the rod and pistons assemblies onto them just like you would a car. Just imagine the way your car crank and pistons are set, and that's the way these guys with the overkill setup. Jim McCoy actually is Shoemaker who designed the cases. That's the way these things are set up. A little bit total different concept of what you used to look into. McCoy from behind. My goodness. 462 for Big Jim, 466 for Mike Romine. And I'm going to tell you something. The margin of victory, we don't have it up here on the screen, but it's got to be just a couple thousandths of a second. Mike Romine with a 477 light, Jim McCoy with a 507 light. Jim running 462 with a 7, Mike 466 with an 8, 157. You've got Kevin Cleary on the Delphron manufacturing bike. That's that beautiful red machine sitting over on the far side of the race course. And he'll be taking on the guy that qualified with the smallest motor in the Big Throttle Top Fuel Series this weekend. And believe me, it was a quick field to get in. You needed to run 5:09 or better to make the 16-bike program. And John Russell qualified his 117 cubic inch little motor in the number 3.
Right there.
Qualifying position with an astounding 4:55 elapsed time. Now, if you talk to Bill Furr, you talk to Jim McClure, you talk to Mark Carr, you talk to any of them guys back there, they will tell you that they are afraid of this motorcycle right here. This bike just gets up and goes. On every pass he has made here at Sturgis this week, the motorcycle has hit 110 64 times. That means it only takes time. 1/10 second to go from the starting line to that set of light beams you see out the Christmas tree. That's 60 feet. If you can get a bike that works that well on the first initial launch, and it can run 450s consistently, you've got yourself a winning combination. Now, Kevin Cleary, he's been riding Top Fuel Harleys for some 15 years. He tied in with Alan Mahan last year, and they built this beautiful machine, and it's been getting progressively quicker and faster at every race. It's powered by a 129 cubic inch 4-cam billet motor, of course, from Delcron. And they use the weekend chassis and, as he says, a new style clutch type. Doesn't say what, just says new style. So Kevin with some tricks up his sleeve there. Race Vision chassis for John Russell, 117-inch motor, Elmer's Red fuel system, B&J 2-speed trans, and watch this thing launch off the starting line. Clary definitely knows he needs to pick up a couple of tenths over the other night's performances if he wants to play hardball here with John Russell. Flat just about the halfway mark, and it did. It slowed him up to a 482 at 153 miles an hour. Don't know exactly what went wrong with Kevin Cleary, but it appears his motor stopped running as well. 639, 74 miles an hour. At that time, I think John dodged a bullet because Kevin should have been able to outrun him had his motorcycle made power all the way down the right-hand lane. On a Pro Fuel competition. Now, Pro Fuel, really not that much different than Top Fuel. I mean, it's basically the same running gear in these bikes as far as motor combinations are concerned. They are nitromethane, fuel injected, no carburetors here, but they only are allowed 151 cubic inches. They're not allowed to use a multi-speed transmission. Must be a high gear only unit in there. All right, here comes the youngster out of New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. This kid has been given full fair fits all this year. Actually, it started last year in his first season of racing. David Wisnall comes in here as the points leader in Pro Fuel competition. And if they can do well here in Sturgis, they could be on their way to their first ever national #1 plate. 132 cubic inch American cycle. The center line sets it down and runs 472. That was a nice pass, 4.721 at 151 miles per hour flat. The bike left good too, 117 short time for the 27-year-old firefighter from Trenton, New Jersey. So David, of course, getting the bye run there because Red Matthews, unfortunately. Steve Doc Hopkins. I remember a time when Doc Hopkins used to be able to blow Bill Furr into the weeds with no problem whatsoever when Bill was first coming up in this game. Boy, have things changed. Bill Furr started racing Harley Davidson back in the very early 80s, racing for about 12 years. And he is on a roll right now in AHDRA competition. He has won the last 2 races on the tour in both Top Fuel and the Pro Fuel. He's looking for like a triple double whammy here, as he said, this week. This is a brand new motorcycle. Yes, indeed. Only 3 races old for Bill Furr. And it's a good-looking piece, isn't it? The latest generation Bulldog. Built by AHDRA Cycles in 63. Now, in case you're wondering, Doc Hopkins, yes, he does. He still uses the panhead for power. His motor 135 cubic inches. He uses a Jim McClure ART clutch. And just by coincidence, Bill built Doc Hopkins' frame last year. This bike was built in 1995. It's 85-inch wheelbase. And he does use a race gathering, a data gathering computer on that bike, one of the B&G units over there for Doc. Now, this is a brand new bike, 88-inch wheelbase, 142 cubic inch. Orangeburg Cycle power plant. Hopkins could not hold on. Man, Spur pulled it out upstairs, 4:69 with a 5, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is low elapsed time of the meet for Bill Spur by 0.02 of a second. 4:69 with a 5 at 134.69 miles an hour, and he needed that because Doc Hopkins drilled him on the tree big time and ran 39 at almost 150 miles an hour. The margin of victory wasn't much on that one. Spur hooked up well, too. 113.60.
Oh, no. Put some fuel in it.
All right.
Ziggy Stewart.
Now, Ziggy ready to take on Rod Bridges out of Daytona, Harley-Davidson. Bridges on the former Bulldog entry. He bought this bike at the beginning of this year. And along with crew chief Randy Wise, they have been doing a pretty good job in their first year of fuel racing. Rod has actually been riding for the last 8 years, but his experience comes from the gas classes. Ziggy Stewart, he's been at this game for a number of years. Out of Plano, Virginia, sponsored by Jim McClure Racing, DR Hall Construction. Bike has been running good, pretty consistent 480s here this week. Bridges, the best he's run is 5:01. That came during qualifying. And Rod Bridges did a tremendous driving job keeping that motorcycle up. I thought he was gone. But Rod Bridges showing his stuff out there, running 5.79 at 83 miles an hour and staying on that motorcycle and keeping it upright. That was incredible. But Ziggy Stewart getting the win like 481. Didn't I tell you earlier that that's a motorcycle? Well, what do you think? Was I telling you the truth? Jack, based out of Belton, Missouri, just won an AMRA race a few weeks ago. Runs a Delcron 4-cam motor, 132 cubic inches, Jimmy Fox and AR. Will drives it real good. He run that thing a long way through the shut-off area. Let's see if we can get this thing stopped before the sand trap comes up. And it's coming up real quick. Yeah, on the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes.
Sure enough, he was doing the Watusi kind of Henry coming.
Wow, he made it. That was incredible. 474 at 153 miles an hour. And I want to tell you something. He was running probably $160 before he shut the motor off. I mean, he was still under power halfway down the shutoff area. That's why we were watching. Tom Hannum advances into the second, third round of competition, and he will take on Dan Fitzbury when we come back. Competition in Pro Dragster. Carbureted nitro motors here. With high gear transmissions, 122 cubic inch limit in this class. And here is the current world record holder. A little qualifier here this weekend. Here's a long burnout. It's Rick Hackrat Solman out of Nashville, Tennessee. Now he'll be on the wrong side, Chris Becker. Chris doing that 200-foot burnout over there, making Army earn his money tonight. Getting exercise out there. Now Christine ran a great 8:27 to qualify in the field here 2 days ago. Now here she goes against the world's quickest rider in the near lane. I'll tell you what, Solomons better watch himself here, because I'm sure Arlie tweaked that motor up in the far lane. That's an Evo motor. 507. Oh boy, 507 with an O, 141.06. The miles per hour upstairs, a 614 for Chris Becker, 120 miles an hour. And Rick Solomons will advance into round 2 rather easily at 507. All right, so Bucky Varone getting cranked up down there. Now Bucky was scheduled to run Lamar Ard, and Lamar had to go back to Louisiana. He broke his motor, so the first alternate, Steve Frisbee, stepped in with his Ironhead Sportster out of Boise, Idaho. And the Varone racing bike out of Colorado Springs. Buckley ran a decent 5:47 to qualify. Frisbee's best was a 6:08 during qualifying, so obviously Bucky with a performance advantage here. 126 cubic inch Deltron Sport Cam motor for Bucky. 96-inch Ironhead over there for Frisbee. So let's see if the little motor can come from behind. And he stepped it up a little bit, 535, 138 miles per hour. That's their best run of the week so far. A 613 for Steve Frisbee, a consistent effort at 131 miles an hour. And even though he did cut a really good 495 reaction time, his 613 just wasn't enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how many females out there do we have that want to see Kirsten Hopkins blow the national champion out of the water here, huh?
Yeah. He don't have chin.
I'll tell you what, she's got something for drums right here, waiting to see the burnout.
Put the hammer on.
Look over the drums, get the music on, get the head, oh boy, they're going to be fun to watch. Now Kirsten,
You're in trouble.
only her second year of Nitro drag racing, actually only her second year of actual drag racing. She's only 18. She's got her driver's license a couple of years ago. And of course, with a dad like Doc, she's been born and raised with this stuff. So it should come just a second nature to her. And she did a good job of driving out here a couple of nights ago. The bike got out there, got squirrely, and a little bit more than squirrely. And she did a good job of keeping that thing under control. So let's see what she has for drums here. I'll tell you what, if she blows drums out, Rusty is going to make him walk back to New Jersey. And then back to Sturgis. Down and drove away to a 5:11 at 136 miles an hour. 5:11 at 136. Coasting back over the far side of the road course at Chicago, Illinois. This is the Sturgis Power Company ride. 120 years to get trouble and which good start. Some of the early flights started by Bill like Dale Nugget. He will be tested a couple years old. This is a panic race between that British Brothers and Wilbur and Motors. This is 140. That's what you want to do. You want to get that rubber out there on the racetrack. Alan Roberts, he qualified in number 6 spot, 5:55, his best. With the Sturgis Power Company, he cycle line out of Chicago. This is the crew chief, we need to set up here just a little bit. Brian qualified 2/10 of a second quicker. So if those tools into these consistent, they're going to work out easier. Roberts is there. And Alan Roberts couldn't hold on. Good start at 5:32. At 131 miles an hour, pulls it out. It was a good race. Alan Roberts, 5:60. That was his best run of the week. 115 miles an hour top end. But it wasn't enough, and Chris Thornton comes back. Either one of these guys, he looks off the throttle and all they do is do it and they come off the road. Even that, I think it is off the job. When you got Martin out there, it's all pumped up. I mean, these guys have to do it. Over there with the old showdowns. Bill Burr is trying to stop us right here. Now, the previous round, 14 out here on that 457. Connor said, roll outside the first round, 461, and get ready to work on Burr and Connor coming at you right now. Drag race, and it was. Will Burr lost with a 460 at 152 miles an hour with a 5:41 reaction time. Mark Connor won with a 4:56 with a 4 at 1:56.79. His reaction time 5:61. So first with 200th of a second on him out of the box. The margin of victory at the end of the racetrack down there was only racetrack, and he will be matched up against John Russell on the chromatic bike out of Cleveland, Ohio.
My man John.
Now Jim McClure, as we mentioned before, 7 times the AHDRA National Champion. He won it 7 years in a row. This man, since 1978, has never failed to qualify at an event that he has attended. And let me tell you something, this guy runs about 35 races a year, so you can imagine how many races it's been in the last, 18 years for Jim McClure. Another guy that has been around a long, long time. He's been in the sport for 30 years. His home is Florida, Ohio, and this little 117-inch Ironhead Sportster can get the job done. In qualifying, he ran 4:55. He was actually the #1 qualifier after the first session. Then he came back.
You never know.
Yeah, the guy with the camera on the track. Get off the track. All right, so Jim McClure and John Russell. I'll tell you, McClure is definitely worried about John. You're out first from McClure. power comes on top end. Oh, man. That was all overkill muscle that pulled that one out. But it was Jim's 458 with a 0 at 157, pulling it out at the finish line. It was close. Russell was right there at 478, 152.02. But it's Jim McClure going into the final to take on Mark Connor. Oh, boy. Is that going to be a race to watch? Jimmy 450 all week long. All right, now we go into Pro Fuel competition, semi-final round. And here comes Bill Furr getting set to go, and he should be scheduled to go against Robert Ziggy Stewart. Nope, he's scheduled to go against David Horsdahl. How could we forget about that? I'm sure both of those guys wish they were taking on Ziggy this time. But I don't know, I think they've been waiting for this for a while. I can tell you one thing, though. David Horsdahl has been in the final round of the last 19 races he has attended, including every single AHDRA race he has attended. And don't you think Bill Furr knows that? But now Furr is on a roll of his own. He has won the last 2 national events in both Top Fuel and the Pro Fuel. He is trying to battle back from some early season gremlins with the Bulldog bike. As a matter of fact, they actually built this brand new bike and got it finished only about 5 weeks ago. But Horsdahl and the Capital City team out of New Jersey just having a fabulous year under the helms of DJ Johnson, serving as the crew chief out of American Cycle. And this, like in Top Fuel, was a very critical round of racing for both these guys. Right now, Horsdahl leads the points by 42. So this is an important round win. Every round you get 20 points. So if Furr can knock them off here, that puts him 20 points closer. But that's not what Horsdahl wants. He wants to take them out right here. Driving away from Bill Furr on a horse shot. David Horsdahl, 474 at 152. And Furr and the boys went quicker, 471 at 141.95. And I mean, Bill Furr got drilled big time on the tree, and that doesn't happen too often. 494 and 589 the reaction time. A tenth, actually 11/100ths the whole shot. But a 474 by Dave Horsdahl at 152 puts him into the next round. I'll tell you, Furr was on Robert Ziggy Stewart. Virginia, Robert, with a couple of national event wins to his credit over the years, runs this bike out of Jim McClure Racing, 120-inch motor. And he's been running good, consistent 480s. Let's see what Jack Larson can do, the machinist out of Belton, Missouri. Jack with 1 career AHDRA win to his credit. That came in Houston a few years back. But this 132 Julius Deltron floor cam motor for Larson can step up to the tune, and it's probably going to happen right here. He knows. Gets the win on a hole shot, and what a hole shot this was. Ziggy runs 491. Jack Larson runs 482 and loses. Reaction time, 449 for Zig, 557 for Larson, and that told the story right there. The Virginia boys at 151 miles an hour, the Missouri people at 149.50, and it was a good race, only a few thousandths of a second. How about what the matchups will be? Drums against Gardman, and a pack rat will take on Bucky Verone. Looks like it'll be the pack rat Bucky Verone matchup coming out first. Of course, we don't get a chance to see Pack Rat on the AHDRA too much. He runs mostly the AMRA tour, but it was nice that he took the time out to come out to Sturgis. We'll probably see him at Rockingham, I would imagine, later on in the year at the big quarter-mile track down there, trying to run a 740 with a carbureted nitro bike. Now, I can't remember, was it you guys that ran the 54 a few months back, or was that Todd? Oh, I know that's a bad name, but really not too sure about that, but I know one of you two guys were flat-out flyers just several weeks ago. Of course, this is not an easy job down here to try to get a carbureted nitro motor down the racetrack in 7 seconds, or in this case, 4 seconds in the 8th mile. Of course, number one, you're dealing with a transmission that doesn't have any gears in it. It's a high gear only unit, and just trying to get the gearing right, and then the carburation is another ball game in itself. I mean, these guys, that's basically the trick. If you can get the carburetor right, get the fuel to where you want it, and be able to get the thing to leave and then burn the fuel when you get on down the racetrack, you're way ahead of the game. And it seems like guys like Drums and Bob Toddy and that man sitting down there on the blue bike, Pack Rat and his boys seem to have basically found the magical combination. And it's not an easy one to find. All right, so it looks like it's going to be Drums and Gartman coming out here first. Now, I had a chance to talk to Chris Gartman yesterday. Pretty nice kid out of Langley, British Columbia, Canada. As a matter of fact, he was the guy that sent in the article from the CMDRA, the Canadian Motorcycle Drag Racing Association, that appeared in this month's Drag Times. If you happen to pick up a time when he came in, trying to promote that sanctioning body a little bit. Now he's up against one of the big hitters in the class, Drums Spray Cancio. And I think this might be the first time these two guys ever raced against each other, being Drums from New Jersey, Gartman from the other side of the country over here. Yeah, Chris Gartman, nice burnout, huh? Yeah, put your hands together. Well, I sure wish I was you folks out there storing this nitromethane. I mean, it's got to be thick out there tonight. Thin altitude, a little bit less air than down at sea level, and that allows these guys to run a lot of nitro to try to make some air somewhere. So it's got to be smelling good. So here we go. Drums and Gartman. Drums with a big points lead already towards the second #1 plate, but he wants to win again here. He's the defending champion. The concrete pad, but he did a nice job of driving. Drums goes into the final of 5:15, 5.157, 138.46 for Drums. If there's a guy named Dick Clemens out there, when you come to the timing tower screen, if there's a guy named Dick Clemens out there that has a friend named Jim who just left to go home, when you come on up here to the tower, we have a message for you, okay? Dick Clemens, if you have a friend named Jim who just left to go home, come on up here to the tower, we got a message for you. All right, let's see if Bucky Barone can knock off one of the heavy hitters in the class. Bucky has raced Rick Salvage before. These guys are pretty much regular on the AMRA tour. Now, Solomon is a hired gun. This motorcycle owned by Greg Hurd. It's the Hurd Racing Team, the Pack Attack, they call themselves, 120-inch Evo overpowered. I would imagine that's Greg Hurd out there right there taking care of the motor end of things, giving his driver a slap on the back. Bucky Barone and the Barone Racing Bike out of Pike City, Harley Davidson, trying to do the impossible here. He knows all about it. Top end guard, real quick, guys. That was a good race. Rick Stallman, 5:08 with a 0. 5:08 with an 0. Really came on upstairs. 5:39 for Bucky, 137.19 miles per hour. I'll tell you what, there's the hard part. One of his favorite 8-mile tracks over the last couple of years. This will be one of those quicker races. Also over there, that big bike out of Mason, Arizona, running out of Glendale, Arizona. Harley Davidson. Charlie runs 686 in the previous round off his 690 index. Jeff Ebot. It's all right, though, it's with the second veteran, the Brewer. Up against Frank. Led by 7,000. of a second. 493 red, and Bill McGrew is your 1996 single ET Series winner here at the Sturgis Drag. Yes, it is, and it
Thanks to our
happens
sponsors.
at Sturgis Dragway.
We don't
You know how to run a show here, don't you?
Getting ready to go here on the tower side of the racetrack. And he'll be taking on Jeff Shaw, the DNS cycle bike out of Connecticut. This is an all East Coast battle. The national champ has done extremely well again in 1996. He has won 3 national event titles so far this year. He won the Bike Week Nationals, he won the Spring Nationals, and then he won down at Maple Grove, Pennsylvania, the Mother's Day Nationals, at a race that his family's Harley Davidson dealership sponsored. Jeff Shaw, 33 years old, over there in the right-hand lane, and this guy's been banging out some great runs, taking steadily in the 540 here tonight during eliminations. The bike owner Dan Vance and his hired gun Jeff Shaw right now basically enjoy a 1/10 of a second advantage in performance. But I'm sure Herbie Williams has got some tricks up his sleeve. And you got to remember here that Jeff Shaw runs a big motor. It's 140 inches, and it's got juice in it. You can see him pursing it right there. Tommy Haddam is on the world's quickest small tire bike, non-nitrous, just gasoline and carburetor for this 114-inch motor. So here we go, the big motor, the big tire of Jeff Shaw against Tommy Haddam. Event 561 at 121 miles an hour for Tom Haddam. He wins his 4th national event title of the year. And Jeff Shaw, I don't know, maybe guys have been waiting to meet up with each other for a long, long time this year. Of course, Rick is one of the heavy hitters over in the AMRA Tour. He and Bob Toddy basically dominate that circuit. Then you got Drums over here on the AHDRA Tour, and to be honest with you, there's nobody over here that can touch them at present. So you got the 2 hitters from 2 different associations that don't see each other very often, squaring off here in the final of Sturgis. Now remember, Drums won here last year. He's the defending champion. Rick Smallman's out there doing the driving for Greg Hurd and the Pack Attack team. They were running well tonight. A couple of 5.0 passes. They ran 5.08, I believe, in the previous round. But Drums isn't that far back. They ran 5.11 in the last pass. Rider on the starting line. Drums, if you're not careful, can put a pretty good light on you. And I'm sure it has at least something to do to Rick Stallman's right now. This motorcycle, Tower Lane, has run in the 760s on the quarter mile. It holds the world 8th mile record at 779. Drums, just a couple of weeks ago in the quarter mile, made one of his first passes over 170 on a carburetor. The bike's running solid, 5.1, 5.0 tonight. Let's see if he can pull one out of the hat here. The defending... Let's go by him. It is Rick Stallman, ladies and gentlemen. A lower lap time in the meat shot there. 5.032. That's low ET of the night. 141.50 miles an hour. And Drum gave it a good ride. He cut the light on him by 200. But he got a little bit squirrely out there in the middle of the racetrack, and he slowed to a 5.33 at 1.34. But it was still a good race, and Drum still holds on to that comfortable points lead. But they'll have to
How'd you like that, Mike?
him, I guess, until you guys
Hey, Mike.
meet up again. Huh?
How'd you like that one?
But it was fun to watch. So our congratulations go out to Rick Packrat Sullivan, Greg Hurd, and all the boys there at Custom Cycle Works and R&B Cycles. Winners of Pro Dragster here tonight. All right, here we go with Pro Stock. Big and little out there on the racetrack right now. A couple of fuel body bikes. But 2 different engine combinations, 2 totally different worlds, to be honest with you, out there on the racetrack. You have Rob Ford on the near side. Rob with that 140 cubic inch Craig Walter's prepared motor, ready to go against Dan Fitzbury. And his 113 prepared power plant. Now, even though these motors are two different sizes, these guys have been running to PTs and speeds that have been pretty close together tonight. Gotta admit though, Cord has a little bit of advantage. This bike is about 500 quicker in elapsed time so far tonight, but I'm sure that doesn't bother Dan Fitzbury. They've been getting quicker as the night goes on. The bike has been reacting very well in the first 60 feet, and his lights have been exceptional as well. So let's see what he can do against Rob Cord, the World 8-mile record. This took Rob Cord a 540 at 122.95 miles per hour to outrun Danny Fitzbury, who banged out a 555 at 122.28. The margin of victory, when you figure out the reaction time, was only about 300ths of a second, and it went to Rob Cord. So Rob Cord and the Jim's Machine, Cord Cycle Service, Walter's Technology, good old racing chassis. All you guys, congratulations, you're the winner.
Super Pro Fuel.
All right, here we are, Pro Fuel, final round. This could be a lure. The road qualifier this weekend, David Horsall. He came here to win this round over Robert Ziggy Stewart. This would give him a really comfortable points lead going into the next race in the Tour in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in a couple of weeks. But Horsall, even though these guys have been running low ET of every round of competition, they're very aware that Ziggy Stewart can run a big number. Ziggy qualified in the 470s this weekend. And the bike has been a 480 bracket bike. So if Horsall makes any kind of mistake at all, you know Ziggy Stewart's going to take advantage of it. So here we go, final in Pro Fuel. Does he have the horsepower? No, he does not. It is the Capital City Racing Team from New Jersey. They win Sturgis with a 473. At 153 miles an hour, and Stewart again in the 480. 489 is 150-10 happens. These guys have been banging out 450 numbers. Here comes Mark Connor. He's in. The first national is a 454. 454 at 160.71 miles per hour, and they go nuts down there in the staging lane. A 483 for Jim at 128. He shut it off, but he went 337 red. And our congratulations.
Congratulations, by the way. Did good. Get a shot of us together here.
Yes, the pack ride beat me.
But we love you,
had to
Drums.
steam it at that time.
There you go.
That thing had some serious horsepower. I couldn't believe it. It was spinning. It just kept spinning. I said, fuck, I ain't never catch it now.